Am I the butthole for just staying in my pajamas after she stole my clothes and told me to just wear my sister's clothes? I, 16 female, wear flannel shirts over t-shirts and jeans all the time. It's basically all I wear. My dad also always dresses like that. I'm not trying to copy him, it's just a coincidence that I also like to dress like this. I also look very similar to my dad. My twin sister looks much more like my mom. She also dresses in a more feminine way. My parents are divorced and they hate each other. My mom says that I remind her too much of him and it annoys her. She also thinks I'm not feminine enough. She wants me to dress more like my sister. When I woke up a few days ago, my entire dresser was gone except for some underwear. Like she just picked up the whole dresser and took it to her room. I asked my sister about it first and she just said to ask mom. I asked my mom and she just said to borrow my sister's clothes. My sister only wears dresses and other girly clothes, which I hate. I just stayed in my pajamas all day. When she got home from work, she yelled at me for being a slob. I said that I would wear these pajamas until she gave my clothes back. If you want to know why I didn't just get the clothes, I'm not allowed in my mom's room and it's locked all the time. That was on Tuesday, today is Friday, and she gave me my clothes back today. From Tuesday until Thursday, I just showered then put those same clothes back on. My mom says I'm a stubborn brat and I'm purposely trying to annoy her by dressing like my dad. Am I the butthole? Edit. She apologized and we're cool now. Please stop telling me to call CPS. Not the butthole, and I'm impressed by your perseverance. Go you. And I'm glad you got your stuff back. But it is sad that Op's mom did this just because of her feeling for her ex-husband. She should try to separate her relationship with him and the relationship with Original Poster. Original Poster, maybe you can ask your mom to do family counseling together. It could help her to understand that you don't try to provoke her and many unsolved things more. Stealing someone's clothes for 3 days is abuse. Laughing out loud. There's no excuse if Op's mom can't handle one of her daughters dressing differently. That's on her for sure. Yes, that's why therapy would be good. Except you never, ever go to therapy with your abuser. Yes, the abuser needs help to stop being abusive, but by going with your abuser it tells them that it's we problem, that you two are part of the issue, when in reality it's all a them problem. Mom needs help and yeah, therapy for her would be a good idea. What is not a good idea is for Original Poster to go with her. That just tells mom that Original Poster is part of the problem when the problem is 100% mom herself. It also teaches the abusers your vulnerable points, which teaches them how to better abuse you. And that brings back old memories of mother-daughter counseling for me. Yes, the abuser needs help to stop being abusive, but by going with your abuser it tells them that it's we problem. I guess this is true, but the real reason you don't go to therapy with your abuser is that typically the abuser will pick up more effective tactics of manipulation and abuse. It can make the situation much worse. The last thing you should do is show your weak spots to someone that has proven themselves willing and able to hurt you in the past. You do not go to therapy with an abuser. I'm not sure if the mother here is abusive, or if she just had a one-off freakout, but if she is abusive, Original Poster shouldn't go to therapy with her. It will only allow her mother to learn how to manipulate her more. All parties need to go to therapy in good faith, something abusers won't so. They use therapy to get ammunition to hurt their victim. From the way Original Poster sounds, it does sound like this is typical behavior for her mother. Especially with the not being allowed to go in her mother's room and the door always being locked. I do hope that Original Poster realizes that her mother's behavior isn't normal. Not the butthole. Honestly, I would have done the same. When you're a kid, it becomes a game of who cracks first. The mom sounds like a major problem, so not to excuse her at all, but the door to the room being locked doesn't seem like a problem to me. It's not a boundary I personally set with my kids, but my parents were big on you do not enter our room without permission. Asking for and enforcing the privacy of one's room isn't unreasonable in my opinion. We do have a knock on closed doors and then wait for a response policy, which also applies to us entering their rooms. I'm thinking they meant more like mom gets to enforce her boundaries by keeping her door locked but gets to go barging in and stealing Op's clothes, so obviously she doesn't have any boundaries. To me, if the mom kept her door open, I'd be less likely to think she's abusive and it's just an occasional freakout, whereas her having strict boundaries she runs over for her daughter makes it more likely she's abusive. I don't know, maybe I'm projecting. Total hypocrite, because only her boundaries mattered. Not the butthole at all. Glad you got your clothes back. I mean, on its own, having the bedroom door locked isn't that weird, nor is it abusive. My parents used to hide stuff like birthday presents in their room and told us to stay out. But obviously, context matters here. Only individual therapy. Don't go to therapy with an abuser. They need to show progress in their own individual therapy to be safe talking to in a family therapy session. Believe me, I learned this the hard way, and so did my young, well-meaning but naive therapist. It was really bad, and some of the things said were incredibly detrimental to my rape/PTSD, family abuse, and eating disorder recovery. It's just not a good idea. It can be very harmful. Sorry for any typos I didn't catch. I'm finally falling asleep and it's 5:30 a.m. laughing out loud. Edit: I already apologized for any typos in advance, but sorry for missing on in the first sentence. I was starting to nod off there. I finally got my mom to go to therapy, and instead of talking about her own trauma, apparently, they just talked about me, and the therapist concluded I was the problem and I had borderline personality. The therapist never even met me. And my therapist has never diagnosed me with that. Did we have the same therapist? Mine put me on a cocktail of antipsychotics to keep me unconscious for a year. Thankfully, after that the thing that birthed me got tired of torturing me and kicked me out. It's wild what these people enable and get away with. You should never go to therapy with your abuser. It further solidifies the point that original poster is an issue, which she's not, and an abuser or abusers will be able to better learn your vulnerable points, which helps them abuse you better. Agree, wholeheartedly. Original poster needs to talk to her father about stealing her clothes and forcing her to keep wearing the same dirty clothes for 3 days because her own issues with her ex is abuse. Singling out one child for bad treatment because they resemble the other parent is also abuse. It's literally some Joan Crawford mommy dearest crap. She moved the dresser. That's so crazy to me. I'm a parent and I would never do something like that unless I was remodeling a room or everything was being washed because of an infestation or something. I definitely agree. I think original poster should think about not going to their moms anymore. They're 16, plenty old enough to choose. No matter what happens, original poster should really tell her dad what happened. She should tell everyone, especially adults at school. This is mental abuse. The mom has control and anger issues. I agree. Tell dad, but also non-biased third-party adults that would care about her well-being, like teachers and counselors and coaches and even friends' parents. Mom sounds like a control freak. The mom also needs to realize the ex-husband may have an influence on what one of them like, considering he's their parent as well. So she should probably get over the fact that her children might resemble their father in some ways. I mean, half of them is his genetic material. What will she do if one of the girls has dad's eyes? Just cut them off Van Gogh style? I really hope you mean ears. Somehow ears doesn't make it any better. No, but that makes it more Van Gogh style. Eyes would be Oedipus style. That was actually what I was trying to say, yes. And here I thought the erroneous word was off because eyes get cut out, not off, absent some sort of Homer Simpson level thyroid problem. And acting this way may just give the ex-husband more influence anyhow, assuming he's not as bad or worse. I don't think it's only about the dad. I think mom also doesn't like who original poster is, and want to forcefully change her into something more pleasing for mom. She doesn't care about original poster as a person. She's happy for her to be miserable just as long as original poster conforms to mom's preferences. That was my take. Hated ex's face staring back at her whenever she looks at her daughter, plus she wants a girly girl, which isn't the writer's style, plus her daughter's chosen style happens to be that of her ex's. If daughter also has the same personality quirks, she probably feels like she has a mini-me version of her ex around. Mom needs therapy to deal if she's gone as far as to try to aggressively force a style change. Daughter can't help if biology dictates she closely resembles her dad. If she tries to force style and personality changes, she's going to be out of there as soon as she's financially able and never look back. May not need to be financially able, mother is being abusive, which could allow dad to come in and get primary custody. Ian Allen have no idea how easy this would be, but it's a thought. Original poster is clearly not the butthole. You never go to therapy with your abuser, it just tells them you're part of the problem rather than it being all them. Especially since original poster said, her twin dresses more like mom. So mom has a problem with the other twin not dressing like mommy. I have to wonder if there's at least a bit of narcissism here on mom's part. If she has a narcissistic parent, counseling won't help. I went through that with my mom and her mother about being like my dad. It was just another way of making one child higher valued than the other. I bet if other things were looked at, her sister is the golden child. Locked rooms, take away an entire wardrobe of clothes. It seems like since counseling doesn't work because the parent will never have the light bulb go off that they are doing something wrong, most people get out as soon as they can. This is also what bothers me the most. Original poster is her own person and the daughter of her mother. Her mom needs to get over this association with the ex/original poster father. This is completely inappropriate for an adult to continually try to force a child to change because it reminds them of someone else. So selfish and immature. I want to believe it is for other reasons too. An original poster is just fixating, but tough to know. I definitely think someone else needs to intervene. Sounds like my dad's relationship with his mom. She was extremely abusive towards him because he reminded her of her late husband. She ended up going to a mental hospital, and then just cutting my dad out of his life and sending him to live with his, also abusive, aunt and uncle. They don't talk anymore, and his mom makes my family out to be horrible people who cut her out of our lives. Original poster's mom is abusive in my opinion. She basically said, "I hate you because you are," as if your father then punished her by taking away her clothes. Which is also messed up. Original poster, maybe you can ask your mom to do family counseling together. It isn't Op's responsibility to help her mother get over her resentment of her ex-husband. Original poster just has the audacity to exist. The way original poster dresses is not provocation. It's how she likes to dress and she shouldn't be punished for it. The mother needs to work on separating her daughter from her ex-husband and also stop pushing a feminine agenda on her daughter. They absolutely should not go to counseling together. Definitely not the butthole. Tell your mom taking your clothes isn't okay and that you aren't responsible for her issues with your dad. She's a total off for making you the target of her anger and it's bordering on abuse. I hope you get some help and that she is held responsible if this is the manner that she always treats you. Let's not downplay the fact that Op's mom is a major A here. If distance myself from that horrible woman as soon as I could. You are the awesome one. You forced your mom to concede, which is better than trying to forcibly take your clothes back. You made your point so powerfully. I'm just so impressed. Not the butthole. You're old enough to dress how you want and your mom is a nightmare control freak. Original poster replies. She's not that bad. She's usually pretty awesome. Is this massively out of character for her? If so, you should mention it to your dad or a family member because that extreme a change in behavior, and this behavior is extreme, could be a sign of a medical problem that needs to be checked ASAP. If this behavior is not out of character, then I'm afraid your mom is that bad and not as awesome as you think she is. This kind of behavior is not normal and it's not something you should have to deal with, especially from a parent. Original poster replies. This is definitely out of character for her. In that case, I really think you should mention this situation to someone you trust to have both you and your mom's best interest at heart, an aunt/uncle or grandparent perhaps. You could also make an appointment with your GP and discuss the situation. It may be that she's struggling with the pressures of lockdown, etc., or it may be a sign of a neurological condition developing. Either way, best to keep an eye out for any other extremely out of character behavior and hopefully get her any help she needs sooner rather than later. Yes, this, 100%, especially if something didn't happen to cause this, i.e. delay in support payments, something else going wrong with your father, etc., she should not be acting like this, regardless of the reason, but this sudden shift definitely bears watching. If she has family or friends that she is close to and trusts, they might be good people to talk with. It could have just been a bad divorce. There might be certain reasons for it that original poster is not aware of, or it may just be particularly hard to get past it and she's taking out the frustration of not being able to on original poster because original poster wears similar clothes. Couldn't hurt to make sure though. You're not the butthole, but it doesn't seem that out of character if she doesn't trust you to go in her room and locks her door to keep you out. To be fair, she could have some weird sex set up in there. It's not necessarily an unhealthy boundary if we don't know the why of it. To be fair, I think this could also be a pattern of behavior on the mom's part and she knows the daughter will go and take back what is hers. Exactly. While I don't want to speculate without knowing the full situation, it seems that the mom is far too comfortable invading her daughter's privacy while being totally overprotective of her own. And why should daughter trust mother if mother doesn't trust daughter? This is pretty bad. It's one thing to kind of try to steer you toward the style she likes better, or request a specific kind of clothes for family photos or an event. But stealing you dresser is way over the top. The fact that she called you names instead of apologizing and realizing how inappropriate her actions were is very concerning. Please make sure other trusted adults in your life are aware of her behavior. Not the butthole, she should be checked out because this is bizarre behavior. Obviously none of us here knows the situation like you, but you may want to take a bit of a step back and examine all her behaviors to make sure this really is out of character, and not actually abusive actions culminating into something big. As someone said, locking you out of her room is definitely weird, and the constant inability to just accept the way you dress is a red flag. As others have said, talk with some adult who knows her that you trust and get some perspective. It's possible that your mom is having some issue making her act out of character, or there's a chance that from being within your mom's inner circle, you may not have a clear view of what's really going on. Either way, I hope you're able to figure this out one way or another. Your mom needs some serious intervention here to cut this crap out. Follow this advice cautiously in regard to involving your father if he will use it against her, and that is not something you want to be a party to. Do tell someone if you think it is a serious concern. But, also keep in mind how sensitive she is to this based on how fresh or not their separation is. Definitely take the advice of those saying to speak up about behavior that is so extreme and unusual. My uncle started acting more impulsively and angry like this, and it turned out he had a tumor on his brain. Your mom likely needs therapy and/or a brain scan. This kind of uncharacteristic response can be a sign of either a traumatic trigger, my mom has this sort of thing to select things too while usually being pretty chill, or possibly something like a brain tumor. Seriously, let other adults know ASAP. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.